Well, welcome back to our final module on the basics of residential green new construction and remodeling. This course is brought to you by the Green Home Institute, a nonprofit with a mission to empower people to make healthier and more sustainable choices in the renovation and construction of the places we live. And is huge thanks to our sponsors and supporters who allowed this to happen. Big thanks to Anderson Windows. Check them out for all of your fenestration needs, and Panasonic Ventilation. Throughout these modules, if you've been keeping along with us, we've been covering the 5 pillars of green building, energy, health, materials, water, and place, and why it's important to incorporate all of the 5 pillars holistically into your new construction or remodeling project, and then potentially use a green building certification program to organize these 5 pillars and give some meaning, some structure to them, and a lot more details as well. So with this final module 8, we're going to be covering focusing on value, focusing on financing, and then focusing on educational resources to start your green building practice, green building journey, incorporating that into what you do and into your business model. When it comes to value, we're just seeing overall just an extreme growth in green building and residential green building up into the $200 billion. One of this is being driven by customers, your clients, who are definitely more willing to pay more, whether on new construction or remodels, definitely willing to pay more as time goes on to incorporate green building into their practices. And then, again, willingness for customers to pay more. Here's a snapshot of remodeling, which, you know, if anything about remodeling, typically follows behind the growth of green building in a new construction, just because it's a lot more work to do remodeling. And then another reason that remodeling is so important is because, well, that new construction follows is because of codes. Advancing building codes, energy codes tend to drive more green building work to new construction, but oftentimes doesn't affect remodeling unless major permits are being pulled. So what we're seeing across the country, studies have been done in California, Seattle, Portland, Atlanta, DC. Still waiting on some major studies to come out of Chicagoland and the Twin Cities and Mid-America. But if you go to the appraisalresearch.org website here at the bottom, what they found of all these studies is on average across the country a 4.3 increased value of a green labeled home. So that's increased value to your client, to your customer who's buying a house, higher value to your client who's purchasing a house, higher more income for a client who's selling a house, more income for you as a developer, architect, builder, or real estate agent who is involved in green construction. One of the things that's growing this is the greening of the multiple listing service. Basically what that means is every time a project, a building or a residential home goes up for sale, it could get listed on a multiple listing service, local independently controlled multiple listing service, which helps get that listed, helps get it sold. And so a lot of these MLSs across the country are getting greened. As you can see, the entire state of Minnesota, half of Wisconsin, parts of Michigan, Chicagoland, I believe all of Florida, Colorado are doing this. And so this is a great toolkit at greenthemls.org where you can work with your local real estate organization or group of real estate organization to help them include green features in the MLS. And eventually we'll see the entire MLS across the country incorporate green features so that a lot of these things are easier to communicate and sell as well. So here's an example of a green seller's disclosure statement, something that a green MLS might use to where a green certification or label, as well as all of the green features of a home, can get disclosed on this seller's statement as a way to showcase the value of it. Along with that, the challenge we're seeing in valuation right now is from appraisers. You know, of course, it's very difficult to sell a green home if an appraiser doesn't value it. Typically, appraisers will defer to comparables in the market, and so if they don't find local comps, they will essentially not be able to add value to the home, which can then, if it's a renovation project or a new construction project, it can be difficult to borrow some of that extra money from the lender if the appraiser isn't finding that extra value. And so what the Appraisal Institute has done, the official National Appraisal Institute has put out education training and this residential green and energy efficiency addendum, which is you as a contractor or developer can fill this addendum out, and then you can hand it out to them to hopefully encourage them and educate them on how to use this tool to help add more value to your project or upcoming projects. And if you want to learn more, we have an entire series dedicated to green and sustainable residential remodeling trends, where we cover some of the recently released resources and try to make sense out of them as far as the residential green existing construction practices go and what consumers are demanding. We look through a lot of those resources, so make sure to check that out, as well as our financing and valuing green labeled homes 1-hour series that we'll be putting on. Should be available by now, and if not, make sure to look out for that as well. So financing. So what ends up happening with green building is that it has a higher upfront cost. Many of the reasons is because it has a longer-term payback, a return on investment. That return on investment comes both in energy efficiency savings, renewable energy generation, and then also things that you can't quantify with money, like health impacts to children, to the elderly. You know, what is the value if your kid doesn't get cancer or asthma? It's hard to put a number on that. Now you can with health insurance costs. So a lot of the things that might go into above code building might have a little bit of an extra upfront cost, using more sustainable materials that don't destroy the environment down the line. So you're sort of just passing that on to either a future generation or outsourcing the damage to the rainforest, for example. So again, a lot of that can cost a little bit more money, and other times we see with green building things can be a lot cheaper if you do things right, if you have the design team on board, if you're doing waste diversion from the landfill. Sometimes things can be cheaper. But overall, we see that they do have a higher upfront cost, and so finding mechanisms to achieve these goals with your clients is very important. So some of the things that exist out there, tax credits, deductions, utility rebates. Freddie Mac and Fannie Mae give out rebates for green certification. FHA will do lower insurance rates and higher stretch ratios. If you're working with affordable housing developers, you might get volunteers, sponsors, and grants to help support green building and sustainability initiatives in your practices. As far as financing, you've got HUD, you've got low-income housing tax credits through quality assurance allocation plans across many states. And then you've got things like PACE and on-bill financing, which we'll cover, as well as unsecured low-interest loans out there. So first of all, you've got tax credits that can help offset 30% of solar PV, hot water systems, and wind systems through 2019. Some of that can be extended to HVAC equipment as long as it's tied directly to the solar application. And then through the end of 2016, and it may get extended if you're listening to this post-2016, geothermal systems have always had a tax credit with them as well. If you're working with a client who's doing a small energy efficiency retrofit to their existing home, you can pretty much pick them up $500 from the non-business energy property tax credit. It can only be used once, but it's money, but it is something that that is available and typically re-approved every year. If you want through the FHA with your clients on single-family rehabs or new construction projects achieving certain efficiency, This allows your clients to borrow more money from their lender. If the appraisal doesn't come in high, they can hit a higher level of home energy. Will allow them to borrow some more money to achieve that higher. Both in 203K and in conventional loans for your home style energy mortgage loan, which is really new. Again, some different rules here, but again, the idea is that it's more borrowing power for your clients to hire you to do some more work, to do some more energy efficiency work, which will then get them a better home and a more energy efficient, cost-effective home. Many states have local organizations or credit unions or banks that will do special financing through lower interest rate, longer terms, and that will pay for energy, health, and renewables, which can help lead, are huge components of green certifications. Some examples out there are Green Energy Money or MichiganStates.org. Make sure to look for your local or state-based or even regional or countrywide organization that might give out these types of financing mechanisms to help offset the cost of above-code building or renovation projects. On-bill financing is something fairly new, but that's growing. Basically, the concept of this is it's basically shifting the debt. So you can always think your clients, no matter who they are, small renovation up to large multifamily construction. If you think of your utility bills, and everybody has a utility bill, basically you can think of yourself that you're eternally in debt to the utility company, right? It's a debt you're never going to pay off, and it's one that continues to grow as energy prices increase. And so you can work with your clients to access, hopefully, as these grow, on-bill financing, which basically shifts the debt from the directly to the utility company to a loan that is being made from the utility company or some of their creditors, and that loan can eventually be paid off, and then your client will come out at the end with a lower utility bill. And that typically these are set up so that it's attached directly to the meter, so it's not a conventional loan. It doesn't pull a credit score, which can have a lot of benefits. And then it's paid right on the electric or gas utilities or municipal utility bill that comes to them. And so that, therefore, it's really easy to do, and it's almost like paying the exact, same energy bill. And so the concept is that it's, nearly the same cost as the energy that was offset, plus a little bit of interest. These types of programs are growing across the country. New York has a really strong one. Holland, Michigan is launching one that we're helping work on. And so this is also an opportunity from an advocacy approach to get involved in your local legislation and, make sure that, these things are developed that make sense for you and your clients' goals. Same concept, but on a much larger scale. Property assessed clean energy programs. This is, again, the same concept, but it works a little bit like a property tax assessment. So like, for example, a sewer infrastructure project. So again, a state approves these programs, and then typically, depending on how the state approves it, they get approved at the county level. And then there's millions of dollars of private investment out there that typically goes towards large-scale projects, though in California and other places, PACE is being used on single-family homes. And again, this gets up to 15 to 20-year return on investments, which really allows your clients to finance deep energy retrofits, anything that has an energy savings associated or water savings, even things where like inner city stormwater management might have fees to that. If there's a fee associated with it that can be offset, PACE can finance that. And the same concept, it wouldn't affect the lender's credit, and it can be paid right off the property bill, the property tax, and then eventually when the bill's paid off, there's an improved property, and then it's all just energy savings right there. Again, PACE is legislatively approved on a state-by-state basis, and then is then delivered and approved potentially on a county-by-county basis. We think Michigan, through Lean and Green Michigan, has one of the strongest programs out there. So California probably has one of the most active ones, and also ones that are acceptable to single-family homes. So again, here's an opportunity to get involved at your state-based legislation to see what's going on and help make sure your voices are heard so that you can find financing for your clients to incorporate more green building practices. All right, so this is really about, if you've watched all these modules, this is really about taking those next steps into getting and educating yourself, to continuously educating yourself on the evolving industry of green building science, continuing to get training, getting your credentials and designation or certification personally or for your company to help set yourself apart and incorporate sustainable business practices into your own personal strategies as well as into your firm strategies. So here is just a small list of some of the credentials and designations that exist out there in the country and in the world. On the top left, I think the Green Associates and then the Lead Accredited Professional is probably one of the most internationally recognized certifications out there. They do have one specific credentials for those of you in the homes world. I will note that you do have to go through a lot of commercial education first before getting this with your Green Associates. And so, you know, if you do want to get this designation, be prepared to have a lot of focus on commercial. But it is the most well-known, accepted one out there. And then there's also the Lead for Homes Green Rater program, which is a lot smaller. But if you are a builder who's interested in helping others on rating projects, that designation might be for you. Then you've got the NARI Green credential delivered by the National Association of the Remodeling Industry, and then the Certified Green Professional program delivered by the National Association of Home Builders. Again, these are all ways to set yourself apart as a credentialed green builder. All of these programs typically require some study time. They require review of materials, may require online testing, and have costs and fees to them, and usually are closed book education programs that might have to be taken in a very formal setting. Regional accepted ones that we talked about in our Module 7 for Build It Green and Earth Advantage. And then the National Association of the Remodeling, or of the Realtors, as well as the Appraisal Institute, have green designations as well for those in the real estate and appraisal industry to help show that you've learned how to sell and value green homes properly. We have a very specific credential here too. It's called the Certified Green Home Professional Program, which kind of is through 3 different phases: Associate, Professional, and then the coveted Master. The steps to becoming this is completing the online, on-demand, just-in-time education and training. So it's all done online. It's all open book, open notes. And then maintaining your credential, which can be done through webinars like these, reading articles, in-person training, leading home tours, teaching classes, or helping another person become a professional, volunteering or serving on a green building committee, or doing online discussions such as on Green Building Advisor, engaging in online green building forums. And then if you certify a green building project and actually get it certified, you can jump from the associates to the professional level. And then we encourage people to continue to repeat steps 2 and 3, continue to maintain your credential and continue to certify more projects, and then eventually after 10 projects, become a master. The associates program requires you go through an online training through Blue House Energy, which actually takes you into the house and shows you how to weatherize a home. It actually takes you behind the walls and behind the scenes, and you sort of take quizzes and modules after each one. Or if you're a BPI certificate holder or resident rater certificate holder, then we know what you're doing, and so you can skip this step. Another portion of that is taking 10 hours of some of our online mandatory education learning as well as the electives, which are on-demand courses that we provide, and you can choose the ones that are more important to you. This course here, Basics of Residential Green Building, actually is one of the first steps of this. So whether you signed up for this or not, you've actually completed one of your first steps, and so you'll be able to count this with your certificate if you want to continue down the line with your Green Associates. And then also we encourage you to read Carl Seville and Abe Kruger's Green Building book and go through these different chapters and read the whole book really, and take the quizzes too. It's a great primer for getting your feet wet with green building, and then also required for our associates. Other benefits to taking this are becoming a qualified home energy score assessor, so you can deliver home energy scores for your clients, at least if you're in the single-family new home or renovation construction. Also, if you are a NARI member and want to get your Green Certified Professional, this entire associates program counts for you to do that. And then also, if you're using the Green Star certification program, you can get some extra points by being a certified green home professional. Regardless of which one of those green building designations or credentials you choose from, we encourage you to pick one and follow along in it. Set yourself apart as a residential green building leader. Continue your journey in green building. It's a good resume builder if you want to get a job or get hired in any kind of sustainability position, and then also get the gig or get the job. More and more homeowners are calling local green building chapters and saying, hey, I want to design, build, or develop a large green development. Who are the people who know how to do this? Who are the ones who have the credentials and designations and certifications? Who do I hire? How do I find them? And so it's becoming more of a way to set yourself apart and show that you're continuing engagement in green building science. Also, next steps, we encourage you to, again, to continue to take more of our education, take more education on several other channels out there. The USGBC education channel is a great place to start. Commit to one of those designations. Check out other online resources and become members at Home Energy Magazine or Green Building Advisor. Attend the yearly Green Build Conference or Living Future Unconference. Join a local Green Building Council chapter or one of those various associations we've named off. Join their Green Building Committee if they have one, or start one. Then register and commit a green building project with one of your clients. And then also note, by passing all of these modules, you are now a Green Star qualified professional. So make sure to go download the Green Star checklist, and now you can actually take a whole project through the Green Star process if you're interested in getting your feet wet with a certification. All right, so I want to thank you for your time, and I hope you enjoyed this basics to introduction to green new home construction and remodeling. My name is Brett Little. I'm the Executive Director here at the Green Home Institute. If you have any questions on how we can help you in your green building journey, please let us know, and make sure to take the quiz at the end of all of these to get your certificate. Take care.